Welcome everyone. We are live. I am the Nerdporeal life form, also known as Brian. And with me is my friend in real life, Marty, the father. So what's up, Marty? How you doing?
Hey, Bri, how's it going? I'm glad to be back here and talking about a subject that I guess I liked James Bond, but I really like Halloween. So the holiday and the film series.
So you just watched the film yourself, right?
Yeah,
You just
I
watched
literally
Halloween
finished
Kills for the
it.
first
I
time?
literally finished it 5 minutes ago.
There you go. Just to start, I mean, how'd you feel about it as a follow-up to Halloween 2018?
Well, I think that personally, um, and I had the same issue retrospectively with the original film series that it didn't really
Kind of lost you there for a
sequel
second.
kind of hurts the oh, I'm sorry. I would say that it's the same way I feel about the original sequel to the original movie, um, that it didn't need a sequel, and the sequel kind of hurt the narrative in my opinion. It was an enjoyable experience. It was a fun movie, but I don't know. I like conclusive ends. I like when something stops. I don't want something to keep on going forever. And I know you and I talked about this. It's like they're kind of making up stuff just to keep it going. And that's kind of how I felt with this film. That it was just extending the story that they wanted to tell, but they're not really telling much more of the story. It's almost like extending the very last scene of the last movie another hour and 45 minutes. So, I mean, I liked it. I certainly did like it. I think I kind of agree with most of the critics on this one. It's good, but not great. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same. I mean, I liked it a lot. I think it was fun. I was more entertained with this movie than 2018. Maybe it's because of all the callbacks to 1978,
Yeah,
perhaps.
I love the flashback. I think actually the flashbacks were my favorite part of the movie. And
And
the kills were great too. I mean,
oh
it was
yeah, dude.
very entertaining. It just, I mean, I hate to sound pessimistic, and I just want it to end. I want a conclusive ending.
Well, you know what the next movie is going to be called, right?
No, what's it being called?
Halloween Ends.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, here's the thing. It was originally, and I heard I don't know if this is true, but I heard that the third movie was supposed to take place on the same night, but they changed their mind, and now
Mhm.
there's going to be a 4-year time gap. So the big question I have at the end that I think they should have
And
addressed.
spoilers. I guess you should say spoiler alert for this whole discussion that we're going to
Oh,
go into major
spoiler!
spoilers.
I don't think anyone here actually cares about Halloween, but um, but uh, but here's the thing. So the question is Myers at large, or does he get taken back? Because he was in the house and it was surrounded. So was he just simply caught and taken back to the sanitarium and
I
stuff?
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing I didn't like. So he was always like considered to be, well, at least if you look at, there's tons of different, as you see your little hierarchy of film series there on the screen. There's different lineages of this movie, and I felt like this new one, the original Halloween 2018, and even at the beginning of this one, they kind of set him up to be a mortal man, but like the peak physical fitness, the strongest
He's like
specimen that you
he's
can
like
have.
Rasputin, like maybe his heart is on the wrong side of his body,
Yeah.
perhaps, or just he's like Inspector Clouseau, where like all of his vitals are just simply missed. So like when Laurie stabs him in the neck,
Hmm.
doesn't stab him deep enough. When she stabs him with the knife in the closet, misses his heart. It's a flesh wound,
And
misses the bone, misses the. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts when going into 2018. But the way they showed it now, he's reverted back to Michael
he's
Myers is or the Shape is an
immortal.
immortal supernatural just a zombie just gets back up and just
And
keeps killing you. And then only the reason why they did that was just to create false endings, like James Rolfe says in his Halloween franchise thing. I mean, it's basically if John Carpenter wanted to create a false ending, and he felt the story was complete because if he had to go any further, he had to explain all this crap.
Mhm.
So that's why
Yeah,
he didn't. That's why he didn't want to do it. That's why he
and that's
hated
kind of
Halloween too.
what I'm worried about. I mean, just to go into the final scene of Halloween Kills, where they're all beating him and they shoot him tons of times and
And
they
he gets stabbed
stab
in the
him,
back.
and
Yep.
he gets back up. I mean, now it's just like, well, what is he, a fucking vampire? And it's like, what are they going to put him in put him in a wood chipper and just shred him to pieces? So like these movies aren't really grounded in reality, but they kind of were. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, you extend your belief or your disbelief a little bit, or suspend your disbelief a little bit, and you could believe that this would happen. But after that last scene, honestly, I the last scene where he was dead, but then he gets up and he slits the sheriff's throat and then stabs Tommy. I'm like, why the fuck did they do that? Like,
Yeah,
I,
I
I mean,
actually agree. I'm thinking like, oh, really? I'm like, just more and more kills and stuff.
and I mean,
And they were legacy characters too. I mean, I feel the sheriff didn't. They just brought him in just to be a background character, which I thought was pretty disappointing because he was a major character in the original film,
yeah, and
helping
I
Loomis
agree.
find is hunting him.
I agree.
So
I feel like, again, it made the movie more of a B movie, I guess, a more
yeah,
B movie feel, a little more campy. Which, I mean, they were going for such a serious tone with the whole town going mad and chasing that mentally ill person through the
I'll
hospital.
be honest. I didn't like that part of the movie.
Yeah, me neither.
I was just like, we're. I'm like, I just like my smiles went to like just perplexity and stuff. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, just bring back the Michael Myers again. Bring back the scenes in Hanfield. Let's get away from the hospital
no, I
and
agree. It
stuff.
was,
So
and it just, I don't know. So, like my overall opinion of the movie, if I'm gonna kind of like break it down, and it has to sit with me a little bit more, but going through the movie, the opening scene, the sheriff is still alive, or the officer is still alive, and that flashback to 1978, that was awesome. I
I know
love.
I was just like goose pimples were on my arms. And I had a big smile on my face seeing this because this is what I want. This is what I was curious about after seeing 2018. So we knew that they were retconning Halloween 2. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, how does Myers get taken back into custody? And we kind of and we see it in this movie. So I mean, I think honestly, I think they should have showed it in the last movie. Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
but I guess they wanted to save it. I guess they were confident enough that it was gonna, be success. The movie was gonna be commercially successful that they could, just simply, push this into the next film. But I loved seeing 1978. Just seeing. Only thing I didn't really care for was the whole like. Well, I guess the Hawkins accidentally shoots his partner.
yeah, that was
I was
stupid.
like,
It's like they were trying to set up something that,
yeah.
like, yeah, that was stupid.
But what'd you think of Loomis? What'd you think of Loomis? That was prosthetics.
It looked great. The voice was great, and I loved actually seeing him. I thought it was really cool. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but I mean, being such a huge fan of the first two movies, I loved seeing it. It was just funny though, just like hearing his voice, and maybe it was like a little overacted, but
Did Michael
it
kill
was fun.
again? Did Michael kill again?
It was funny though. I had
I
fun with
know.
it. I was happy they did it.
Yes,
But
so was
no,
I.
I agree. I don't know why they had Hawkins kill his partner. It's like they were trying to set something up, and maybe there will be payoff in the final film.
Well, I guess they wanted to show him kind of panic because he's never they're young deputies and they haven't been in a situation like that with a killer, being overpowering his partner, and he just didn't know what to do, and so
No, and
he just shot him, and but he should have just tried to. If I were him, I would have just tried to. And I don't know anything about engaging a criminal, but I would have probably tried to flank him and get a clear shot.
yeah. Well, I mean, and the other officers should have done something too than just stand there and get choked out.
Because I mean, yeah, he was just getting choked out. There was no knife, there was no gun involved.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but and then it cuts to present day, and it's I like the connection. I like how it's a direct sequel. I liked a lot of those scenes that were from the trailer that everyone knows about. The Strodes driving in the truck to the hospital and the fire truck and the ambulance going the other way. I like that setup. I like, no, let him burn.
Evil dies tonight, Marty. Did you know that? Evil dies tonight. Say it again. Evil dies tonight. That's gonna be. I said this in my video. It's gonna be a drinking game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely could be. I will say, just as a firefighter, just to let everyone know, professionally, I am a firefighter. There's no way Michael could have survived that if he was a real person. But yeah,
he was in that weapons. You see him. He was in that weapons locker with the roll up door and stuff. So
yeah, maybe. And then the killing the firefighters, that was actually a pretty cool scene. But again, it's just like, this is where my frustration begins with the movie. Again, a lot of cool scenes, but I honestly feel like it's almost like Michael was preying on people who are completely defenseless. And that kind of irked me a little bit, that no one fought back. They pretty much just let him kill them. And with the firefighters, one guy's holding the saw, the other guy's just with the fire hose, and Michael comes back and just swings him in the head, and he doesn't move. Yeah. So that was kind of a weird scene, but it was cool. It was entertaining. Then Michael kills the two geriatrics. Which is actually dude, when he stabs that woman in the neck with the
light bulb,
fluorescent light bulb, and it just fills up with blood. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the one scene, I actually liked Little John and Big John. I liked their kind of chemistry.
Yes, I did. I did too.
I thought they were funny. And I liked how they actually tried to fight Michael, but Michael got the best. At least Big John tried to fight Michael. He took off all his jewelry. He's like, I got this knife, Little John. And but those kids, I fucking hated those kids. Those adolescent 13, 14-year-olds. I hated them. And
I mean, it was another member buried to Halloween 2 with the kid with the razor blade in his in the roof of his mouth and stuff. This movie was filled with a lot of member berries, in my opinion.
It certainly, well, I mean, yeah, and we'll go on to the next scene worth talking about. So they all get into a bar. They all, they find out that Michael struck again. There's all these alerts on people's phones. It's on the news. And Tommy starts railing the troops. And supposedly Michael Myers is at the bar, but it's not him. It's the crazy guy. But they end up driving around looking for him, and they get to a park. And those 3 kids are in the park, or 2 kids are in the park, and they're just being punk kids. It's just like, yeah, there's this guy with a white mask. He's playing peekaboo with us. And it's just like, come on. I'm like, are you serious? And I just hated those kids. Maybe you wanted to hate them. Luckily, one of them died.
It was the one that you don't see his face. It's the one that goes into the house. And I think it's actually their mask. They leave their masks behind from Halloween 3. I think it was their mask that they had.
Yes.
And then of course, Michael is actually right by the van, and he does a similar assault like he did in the
Another
very
member Barry.
beginning,
Yeah.
in the beginning of the first film. Member Barry, to the point where you see the shot of his hand just slaps the passenger window, just smashing it with his
Yeah.
hand and
Same
stuff.
scene, but with 2 or 3 extra characters.
But what's funny is the same actress, the same nurse, and of course for the second, and I said this in my video, this for the second time in the series, in the Halloween series, she dies because she gets killed by Michael in Halloween H2O.
So, what's the name of Tommy's friend, the little girl?
Lindsay,
That's the same actress as well,
yeah, Kyle Richards, I
who's
think.
a Real Housewife.
Real Housewives.
But so that scene,
I think she'll be back.
yeah, so do I. That scene pissed me off. I mean, it was cool. It was a fun scene, but it was so frustrating. So they're all armed. All 3 of
Yes.
them are armed, and they don't hit him once. Are you kidding me? And the doctor, who is dressed up like a nurse with that hand cannon, she's just shooting like all over the place. She gets thrown out of the car, and she's right out of the car. She's right next to the car. And
Yeah.
then her husband and what's the nurse's name?
From the original Chambers.
The husband and Nurse Chambers are fighting Michael. Where the hell is his wife? Where is she? She's like, and then she's coming up to the car like she's 30 or 40 feet away. That just didn't make any sense to me. Maybe she ran away and then she came back.
Honestly,
but
I don't remember. I'll have to rewatch it now that you mentioned that.
that was that frustrated me so much. I'm like, kill him. Anybody could kill him. A child with a gun should be able to hit him. But
Yeah.
And that's where like kind of it was frustrated that it's like Michael is up against the weakest possible human beings. And I mean, I would get killed by Michael Myers. I'm not saying like I'm some sort of super soldier, and maybe they would all have gotten killed. But how is it that they don't get a lick on them? That's just crazy to me. But it was pretty cool. Lindsay comes up with the bag of bricks and smacks him in the head. And it seems like his weakness is you take off his mask and he can't fight back. So he needs that mask.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I mean, obviously in that case, like she was just basically shifting it to the point where he couldn't see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, if you're gonna do somebody in, I don't think wearing a mask is a great idea.
No,
it really narrows your vision. Like, really.
Yeah, and that's going into like I was starting to feel like just the way they were speaking, like, oh, maybe Michael was like looking back at him. I was going to say like, oh, well, maybe does he have some like sort of physical deformity that we don't know about, that he was embarrassed about, or he knew he was evil. But let's continue with the story. Lindsay gets away, which was great. I was happy that someone got away.
I think she hid under the bridge, and I just love the way they. And I've said this in my videos and stuff. I've said this in my streams. I like how they kept the blue color of the set, like the blue color that was the creepy blue of the original. They kind of kept that even in the park, which I really liked compared to the to the orange and the brightness that 2018 did. So I was actually really happy. I mean, that scene, I was genuinely like scared. I mean, creeped out.
It's really tense. But
like
it's frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, these movies have been done. I mean, obviously these Halloween movies have been done to death, but I mean, I'll be honest, despite these frustrations, I think it's better than all the other sequels.
Oh no, I agree. I liked it a lot. I think in terms of like enjoyment, it's better than all the other sequels. I think I like the narrative more in 2018. Or what they were trying to do a little bit more in 2018, but I'm not really sure which one I like more. But so they get, Lindsay to the hospital, and this whole thing where this crazy guy who's injured is asking for help. And why are they calling him Michael Myers? Because he has the jumpsuit that he's from the crazy place. I'm sorry to say crazy place. That's really disrespectful. Mental health facility. So he's from the mental health facility. He's mentally ill. So they think this little short fat guy with a skullet is Michael Myers.
Yeah,
And
it didn't make any sense either. And I mean, this was just like this was the follow up, because they said, I think in very briefly in the 2018 film that like one or two of the inmates were unaccounted for. So and
yeah,
obviously Michael was one of them, and I'll call him Martini. Martini was the other one. He was a small little.
the the and then they had that whole thing where like evil dies tonight. And I would say that it was kind of true. Like, it showed the problems of vigilantes, but like, why are you trying to set up that narrative here? The police weren't able to do it. I was looking forward to this like vigilante hunt down of Michael Myers. Then the movie kind of progresses where they again, there's different teams looking out for Michael Myers, and they finally decide to go back to the Myers house. That Michael isn't trying to, he doesn't care about Laurie Strode. He doesn't, he's not looking for, he's just a killing machine. He's crazy. He wants to kill people. And then when he's done killing people, he wants to go home and rest. And then he wants to go out and kill people more and come home and rest. And I kind of like that. I kind of like just saying like, yeah, he is just a killer. It's not, you don't need an extra narrative to say, oh, it's Laurie Strode's sister and he wants to kill his family, because then you have to explain all of that. Well,
Yeah, and then that's what John Carpenter hated about writing Halloween 2.
yeah.
So I mean, the reason why he goes after Laurie Strode in the original, the great Halloween, the great John Carpenter's Halloween, was because he was at home and he sees her at the door, and she's just walking away singing a fake song, and he's listening to her, and he's like, I'm going to follow her. I'm going to follow the boy too. He actually follows Tommy to school.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, kind of seeing that. But I think that's just because she was the first person he saw, so he became fixated on her. And then, of course, her friends came in, then he became fixated on them too. Now the question I always wonder is, was he just saving her for last, so he could, and you wonder if he misses deliberately when he attacks her initially, in the house. He stabs her in the arm. You kind of wonder if he did that on purpose.
I think it's kind of like a
and that way he's playing tag with her. He's like, I'm gonna get you, and blah blah blah.
Well, and I also think it's like he doesn't want to let anyone get away. So I don't know necessarily if he was like waiting for her for last, but I know that he tried to kill her. He wasn't able to, so he wants to finish it up. But then they go to Michael's house, and you see that the Little John and Big John are killed. We knew that Big John was killed, and you have Laurie Strode's granddaughter Allison, her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's dad, who's like a retcon legacy character, and
Lonnie,
yeah,
Lonnie, the one that Dr. Loomis scares away.
Yeah, and they get into this, they get into a quarrel with Michael Myers once again. A lot of frustration here for me. Like, how can no one get a bullet on him? And we see that it doesn't really matter in the subsequent scene, but it's like, so there was like a part where Lonnie's son is on the ground after getting like messed up by Michael Myers, and he has a knife in his hand, but he drops the knife, and Michael is staring at Allison, and he drops the knife, goes to get the gun. It's just like, pick up the knife and stab him in the leg and push him down the stairs.
Yeah.
But I do think Allison is quite the heroine. I think she's a cool character. When she stabbed him like 4 times in the abdomen, that was badass. That was the first time anyone got anything on him. Where she stabbed him like 3 or 4 times in the abdomen. He pushed her down the stairs. She broke her leg. And then he kills Lonnie's son, goes to confront Allison, and then Allison's mom comes and saves the day. And what she was doing is she was setting up a trap to, she rips off his mask. Of course, we don't see a clear look of his face. And she's luring him to pretty much get jumped by these vigilantes. Then all hell breaks loose. He gets shot 4 or 5 times. He gets stabbed. He gets his head beaten in with the baseball bat. He gets stabbed in the middle of the back through the chest. He's dead, right? And everyone's like, oh, it's all over. And it's a false ending because Michael gets back up and kills everybody. I'm like, please. Are you like... And the reason why that frustrates me, I like Michael Myers. He's a cool antagonist. But the reason why that frustrates me is because there is no end. They're doing this. They're leaving this window open to go on forever. Because even if you kill Michael, you blow him up, you put him in a house catches on fire, you stab him, you shoot him, everything but decapitate him, he comes back. So,
and they brought him back after he got decapitated in H2O.
So what's the plan here, folks? Are we gonna, and I think that I can't wait to see another Halloween movie. But at the same time, I'm like, can we finish the story that we've been invested in for, arguably the last 43 years? So that's a little frustrating. I felt it's cool. Like if I was 12 years old, 13, 14 years old, I would have loved it. But the fact that I'm more invested in the overall narrative, that just kind of makes me a little more, want a little bit more. I want it to kind of end. And how did you feel about him killing Laurie Strode's daughter, Allison's mom?
I did not, honestly, I know a lot of people said they saw this one coming. I did not see that coming. I thought it was just going to end like right there because I've read other people's reviews and everybody said without, spoiling it, just saying it just kind of stops. Like it just kind of ends and just stops. So I thought it was going to just stop. We were going to see Myers, we were going to see Karen, and we were going to see Laurie in the hospital. So seeing the Shape basically, stab her to death, I was like, whoa! I was hoping I wasn't. I was hoping I wasn't right about her, getting killed, because I figured, someone important was going to die, but they killed Tommy and they killed the sheriff, so I thought they were the important ones. But no, they killed Karen. So now poor Allison is Michael Myers killed Allison's mother, father, her 2 best friends, and her boyfriend. So there's gonna be a lot of anger in the next movie. I'll say that.
Well, yeah,
so it's gonna be like Sarah Connor and John Connor, but this time Laurie Strode and her granddaughter. I'm wondering if Haddonfield after this movie is going to be abandoned because of the bloodshed and stuff. People are gonna move. And maybe Myers is hiding somewhere or something that's not the Myers house. And
I don't think they took him alive. I don't see that happening. You asking, well, maybe he's back in the,
because there's a 4-year time gap. Like, what is Myers going to be doing for 4 years if he's not in the sanitarium? Yeah,
I'm guessing he has to be on the run because at the end of that movie, there's no way that they are. People would say, never mind, let's just arrest him. Maybe we can rehab him. Maybe they'll say like, oh, well, we can't kill him, so let's lock him up. That's a possibility, but I don't know.
Did you hear about the alternate ending that they originally were going to do?
No.
So Karen dies, like the thing, like you see, but the phone ring, her cell phone rings. Laurie's trying to call her. And Myers picks up the phone and answers it. And all she hears is breathing. And Laurie knows right away what happened. And she's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And then she storms out of the hospital, and that's how the movie ends.
I would have liked that. I think I should have done that. It
So
is. It's definitely a good in a trilogy arc. It's definitely a good middle piece where you're kind of doom and gloom. You don't know how we're gonna fix this. You don't know how we're gonna win. But yeah, it was a fun movie. I'd recommend everybody see it if you haven't. But don't go into it thinking that it's going to be any more than a good slasher.
it's horror. It's a horror movie.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
Shakespeare or anything like that.
no,
It's
exactly.
it's 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 just to have fun. Hopefully, don't think too much about it because you're gonna go crazy like Mike. You're gonna go crazy like Norman Bates. You can't make sense of it. So
And I think
um,
because we're fans, maybe that's why we feel that way. But if you're not a huge fan, I think this is one of those movies where you're not a huge fan. Maybe you'll even enjoy it a little bit more. But I liked it. I recommend it.
Same here, and to kind of bridge between this and Metro, I want to say hello to the chat. So we have Nuff Said is here. Welcome. Punk Waddle's here. Anybody else? Jake D was here earlier. So just those three. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Let's see. Nuff says there's always something, mate. Half the time it's my channel partner's dog goes nuts just as we are about to hit the live button. Punk Waddle says, LOL, yeah, them dog don't care about YouTube. Nuff says the mask is like the real him, and when it's taken off, he has no personality or thoughts.
I agree with that. Enough said. That's kind of how they seem like they're setting it up. Like there is some supernatural quality to that mask. It's almost like Rorschach. It was
Yeah,
actually what I thought of when I thought of when Karen takes his mask. I'm like, oh, it's like Rorschach, that his mask is his identity. Give me my face back, which was kind of cool.
so yeah, because like you see, like Allison's like literally right there. She's in the corner. She's her leg is broken because of the fall, and he just goes after Karen right away. Of course you don't see his face, but it's basically James Jude Courtney, who I think did a really good job, portraying the shape. Like I believed it was the shape. Like it's the version of the shape that I wanted to see and stuff.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
Creepy and scary, and up
dude,
there with Nick Castle.
and again, I love the flashback. Just seeing him a little bit thinner, with cleaner clothes, a cleaner mask. I like that.
Yeah, the only issue I had was we could see his eyes briefly during the attack in the Myers
Yeah, you're
house.
right.
That was the
You're right.
only issue. Because
Yeah,
my ideal Michael Myers is you can't see his eyes, or if you see his eyes, it has to be like the way the poster for 2018 was, where there's like just something, there's barely something under there, and it just looks menacing and evil. Blackest eyes, devil's eyes.
yeah.
But yeah, that's my ideal stuff. So but yeah, I like this movie too. I'm definitely gonna buy it on physical. I'm definitely gonna buy the physical media version of it. Yeah, this last 3 weeks have been crazy. I've seen Bond, I saw this, and then I saw Dune. So
We're watching Dune tonight.
okay,
But
definitely. If you have a chance to go to the theater, definitely watch in the theater too, especially in
yeah,
IMAX.
we might. I mean, I prefer to see everything in the theater, but I want to see it, so it's tough. But I would say my last comment is I hope that they're not making Michael Myers supernatural. He's starting to feel a little bit too much like Jason. So,
Yes, I
but
agree.
it was a great movie.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I just hope it ends with Halloween ends and stuff. I mean, if they want to use the character down the line, I mean, I guess I don't see it getting any better than these movies, in terms of quality of actually being faithful to the original and stuff.
Until it's rebooted.
Until it's rebooted, like Rob Zombies was, which I still refuse to watch to this day.
They
But
okay.
what I want them to do is what Carpenter originally envisioned doing was go back and make, and I don't know how popular it is now because everything depends on franchises. I want them to make like Halloween 3. I want them to make anthology films.
Yeah, that's
And I'm
not gonna
wondering I'm
happen.
wondering if Blumhouse is willing to do that. Probably not, but
Well,
I would love to see I would love to see another, Halloween. But then again, I want to see a Halloween for that's in the '80s, with John Carpenter's, synthesized, music and just the type of writing, because everything now is, I'm not a big fan of horror stuff now, but I did like these
Dude, you
movies.
gotta watch The Conjuring. The Conjuring is awesome. They are awesome, awesome movies. Well, at least the first two are. The last one they made kind of sucked, but the first two movies are excellent. You should watch
Okay, definitely. I will have to watch them. I don't know if where I can watch them. I'll have to look. I'll have to look it up or something. If it's on Netflix or if it's on Amazon or
Not sure.
whatever.
I think they're on HBO.
HBO.
I think
Oh, it's
they're
on HBO.
HBO. Yeah.
Okay. Because I heard that's good. I heard the what's the one with the creepy little girl that came out not too long ago? Well, not Annabelle. Hereditary.
Hereditary is weird. It's
Okay.
good though.
So I heard that's a good one, and I can't think of what else. But yeah, I'll definitely check those out. So you
Check
want
out
to
a
talk
film called Mandy too. That's another one.
Mandy? Okay. And I did see that torture porn, also known as the what is it called? The Terrifier. Is that what it's called? The Terrifier.
Hmm, I'm not
The
sure.
one on Netflix, the one where he cuts the woman in half upside down. Remember?
Oh yeah,
I think that's the Terrifier.
yeah, yeah.
It made me think, who directed this? Rob Zombie, probably. So all right, but yeah, Halloween Kills is was definitely I did enjoy it, and let's go on to Metroid Dread. So
Love it.
Marty, you play you if I forget, did you say you beat Metroid Dread?
No, I have a few items left to get. I'm trying to get 100% completion. So I have one area that is 75% and another area that's 90%. But other than that, all I have is the final boss.
Did I just did a few. I just played. I streamed it yesterday,
Hmm.
and I was playing a bunch of those crazy Shine Spark puzzles.
Yeah, they take
And
some getting used to.
you got to the whole world got to see me get really pissed off and get pissed off at the at the game for me screwing up and stuff.
So I
That
found
takes me back to old school difficulty.
my problem with the Shine Spark puzzles is whenever I go to jump. So whenever I go to like do a mid air Shine Spark,
Yeah,
I always do the
can
space jump.
can you do a midair shine spark and
Yes,
stuff?
you
Because
have
what
to
I did
press.
with there was one where I just simply went diagonal downwards,
So you
to the
can't
right.
you can do mid. There's a few where you have to do mid air Shine Sparks, but the what makes it hard is when you press B midair, it
Yeah,
turns it into the screw attack or the space jump. So you have to press B and Y at the same time. So I mean, it takes some getting used to, but I honestly love the game. I feel like it's the best Nintendo game, Nintendo IP to come out since Mario Odyssey. I love it. I think that if you and I'm a huge Metroid fan, Brian and I we love Metroid. You love Metroid, and if you love Metroid, this game is definitely for you. I've had
Co-
a great time from beginning to end with it. It's a 2D game, so a lot of naysayers at the beginning were saying, "Well, like, how does a 2D game deserve a $60 price tag?"
the
F
game
you.
is way big. Well, the
Yeah.
game is big enough to to uh, justify that, in my opinion. And also, I mean, games back in the '90s. I'm sure you remember, Marty. They were $60 then too.
Yeah. I
And
remember
Super
64 games
Metroid was probably
4.99.
$60. So I mean, there's this wonderful thing called inflation that happened over the last close to 30 years now, and I mean, I wish my computer didn't do that. Uh, but other than but yeah, the 60, yeah, but I mean, like with the inflation stuff, I mean, it's like the Nintendo and video games in general are really hoping they make enough sales,
Yeah.
and every year they need more and more sales to be able to be profitable. So I might be in I might be in the minority on this one, but I'm actually, if they have to raise prices for video games, for like, physical games, I mean, I think they
I,
should, if just to
oh
meet
yeah.
just to meet the inflation, because I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on.
And I think that one thing also is that, I mean, I'm like a straight Nintendo gamer. I don't have a PS5 yet. I'm not an Xbox guy. I'll eventually get a PS5 um, eventually. But I mean, Nintendo Switch is my system. So I will buy big releases, but like in between those big releases, I play a lot of indie games. So I'll spend $20 on an indie game, and then I'll spend whatever it costs to get a your first party titles or first party IPs. But I think one of the big differences is that I am an adult. I'm employed. If I want to buy a game, I can afford it. Versus when I was a kid, it was Christmas and my birthday.
Yeah, same
Uh,
here.
so it's kind of it's a little different for me now. So I can say that from a point of kind of I guess privilege, that I could buy any game I want to. But I would recommend anybody who owns a Nintendo Switch to get this game. It's super fun. I'm so proud of Mercury Steam. And, it kind of goes to show Nintendo that, maybe you should give some of your games to some more Western developers, that they can do a good job, or at least give part of your game to what more Western developers. And they have, but it was great. I
I
loved it.
mean, Mercury Steam, I mean, was very passionate about Metroid from the start. I mean, they were the ones, I believe, that worked on. Remember Castlevania? Was it the Lords of the Shadow?
Yeah,
I think they were the.
I actually like that game.
Yeah, so did I. They made a 2D Metroidvania version of Lords of the Shadow. It's like it was supposed to take place in between the first game and the second game. I still have not played the second game. It got bombed by the
Yeah,
critics and stuff,
I didn't
and
play
I
it
heard it
either.
was not good at all. So
Yeah, I didn't play it. I played the first one. First one was like a God of War game, and it was like Konami's last video game.
So, I mean, there was then, I think in 2013 or 2014, rumors surfaced of, like, they had like, there were like sketches and drawings of like Mercury Steam basically proposing a Metroid project and stuff.
Hmm.
And so like they had Samus drawn like very differently from how she normally looks. But at the same time, years later, when 2017 happens, they announced Prime 4, but they also announced Samus Returns, and
Hmm.
it's done by them. So I was like, oh, so something did come out of their little concept and stuff. So I
Hmm.
guess Nintendo saw that they were passionate about it, and there's been big demand for Metroid after Other M, because Other M only sold like 500,000 units, I think, worldwide, and people were disappointed. And after that, they didn't, nobody had any ideas for a new Metroid game. So I guess they kind of took a break from that. That's why we didn't see a Metroid game for like 5 to 7 years. I don't know if you count Federation Force on 3DS.
No, yeah, I wouldn't count that. And I mean, Other M is a very forgettable game. And
It's not bad. I replayed it a
yeah,
few years ago. It's actually a pretty good game compared to others, but it's a step down from like Prime 3 and, well,
yeah.
Prime games in general, and
And
2D Metroid.
I I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but that game is so Japanese. I mean, it's
Team Ninja. So
yeah,
yeah.
and it feels like such a Japanese game. But in terms of the overall game, I did like Other M when it came out. but but it had problems. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's there were some cool elements that they didn't include in the Prime games that wasn't included in Other M, like the Shine Spark and the Speed Boost was actually used in this one in a 3D sort of way. And honestly, if they would have made an N64 platformer like Metroid on well, or like I think it would be like Other M if they actually made something on N64. They just couldn't figure out like Sakamoto. I read that Sakamoto couldn't really figure out a way to do it on the N64 without it coming off as clunky. So,
Well, Bry, unfortunately, I have to cut it early. My wife's here, and I have to go help her grab some stuff out of the car.
all right.
But
Well,
it
so
was
is there
awesome
anything you
talking with
wanna?
you.
Is there anything you want to plug or something?
No, I want to plug. Oh, I have this YouTube channel I really like, Nerdporeal Lifeform. So if you can
Who
check
is
him
that?
out,
I've never heard of that.
he's a
He's a
good
real,
content creator.
he's a hack.
All right, bro. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right. All right. Well, okay. All right. Take care, Marty. Thanks for coming
Bye-bye.
on.
Not a problem. Bye bye.
So now you guys are just stuck with me now. So just to let you know, I am going to be continuing my Metroid playthrough tonight, probably around 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And you guys are all welcome to come join me then. So thanks everyone for coming on. I'll read what is being said. Punk Waddle says 2D games versus 3D games is not a monetary comparison. Some 3D games are pretty lame. That is true. I mean, there's just so many 3D games out there. I mean, you're gonna have to forgive me. I haven't played this for myself, but I've heard nothing but bad things about Castlevania 64. That's a 3D game. But other than that, I mean, like I'm pretty happy with Metroid Dread so far. I mean, obviously my frustrations have been recorded for forever, so now everybody knows how I feel after just simply watching my stream. But I mean, it just there's a greater payoff after all that frustration, especially that one in that one area where I needed to do the try, bomb, shift or that try bomb, you know, thrush, where I knock myself in morph ball several feet away to get clear of the collapsing blocks and stuff, and then I do the bomb. I do the bomb, and then right after that, I do the shine spark. So I was just happy I got that. Okay, what else is said? Punkwell also says GoldenEye was a great 3D game, and it was on N64. That's correct. And I think I said this in a previous video. I played GoldenEye around the same time I was getting into the Bond films for the first time. So it was actually very good. It was actually very good timing. Good time growing up and the good time being around in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. So, but yeah, that's my plan for tonight is to go and play some more Metroid Dread, probably once again, 7 p.m. Central or 7:30 p.m. Central. I'll probably do it for probably 2 hours, maybe 2.5. I want to call it early because it's a work night and stuff. So, but yeah, so this was something Marty was available to do, so I decided to make the stream, and we have a good rapport. I'd like to bring a few other friends of mine on at some point, if they're comfortable, and continue this. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations over the phone like this, and I just I figure instead of having conversations over the phone, I could just have conversations in front of an audience. So once again, thanks a lot. Once again, Punk Waddle, Jake D, Enough Said, and of course my Stream Elements bot, and anyone else who's been lurking. I appreciate it. So remember, once again, stay nerdporeal, and may the wings of nerdporeals carry you to completion of Metroid Dread. In my case. Other than that, take care, everyone. See you later. See you in a few hours.